Hi again, guys. In this short session, I would like to introduce Firefly. I will start by discussing the motivation for building the exchange and briefly touch on the architecture of the exchange. Okay, so first, you may ask, what motivates us to build Firefly? Why are we doing it? The motivation for building Firefly came when we realized that DeFi was too slow and too expensive to gain mass adoption. We are crypto geeks and we wanted to push the limits and try to make DeFi available to millions of users. That's why we first focus on derivatives, the largest niche of DeFi in terms of trading volume. Currently, derivatives attract millions of traders who trade perpetuals on centralized exchanges. And this presents a great opportunity to bring all of those people to DeFi by providing them a compelling alternative that is decentralized. The derivatives market in traditional finance is the largest market by trading volume and size. And the same is true in CeFi, in crypto. And we believe that soon derivatives will also become the largest market in DeFi. To illustrate this, let's take a look here. This chart shows the daily spot Bitcoin trading volumes for the last 30 days. And the data is for spot Bitcoin and only shows only about 10 of the largest exchanges by trading volume. So the volumes would likely be higher if we were to take all of the crypto exchanges instead of those 10. But what's important here is the numbers. So I marked that 63,000 Bitcoin, which is the highest volume we've seen in the last 30 days, corresponds to about $4 billion at the current price. So every day in the last month, the volume was at most $4 billion, which means $4 billion worth of Bitcoin exchanging hands in that day. Okay, this number could be higher. Maybe it's 5 billion or 10 billion if we include all of the exchanges and not just those on the chart. But the idea is still the same. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin futures volumes in the last 30 days. You see that the lowest daily volume was around $30 billion and the highest was around $100 billion. So we clearly see that Bitcoin futures markets are an order of magnitude larger or many times larger than spot markets in terms of trading volume. And this is true not only for Bitcoin, but also for many other cryptos. Why is this, you may ask? And the answer is that traders like futures because they allow them the same price exposure as holding the real asset without actually holding the real asset and instead just holding the futures contract. So there's no custody of this BTC and it makes it simpler. And secondly, importantly, traders can very easily use leverage with futures, which amplifies profits and losses. So for these two reasons, futures are a very, very compelling financial instrument for trading and speculation. Maybe just to recap, there are two types of futures, traditional futures and perpetual futures. Traditional futures have a specific expiration date when the real asset, like for example BTC, is delivered to one side of the contract at the expiry. Perpetual futures, on the other hand, do not have expiry dates, so they can be held as long as the trader wants. To better understand what makes Firefly inherently different than centralized exchanges, let's review the technical architecture of the exchange and of the centralized governance. So here you see an overview of the architecture of how traders interact with the exchange. All of these shapes that look like pages are smart contracts. And as a reminder, a smart contract is basically an address on the blockchain that doesn't belong to anybody. And it has specific logic or functions programmed into it that allow other addresses to call it. For example, this margin bank has a function like deposit and a function like withdraw that anybody can call. Deposit can be called at any time, but withdrawal will only work if there's some money deposited by the address calling it already, and then the withdrawal will process. So to start, traders must first deposit some money into the margin bank. The margin bank stores all of the funds of everybody on the exchange. Then we have markets, like for example a .USDT market, which is also a smart contract. It checks whether a person calling it has enough money in the margin bank to place a trade. If that is true, then a trader can create and sign a transaction on the blockchain with their order, and then the order will go to a matching engine. If there is enough liquidity in the order book to fill the order immediately, then the order matching engine will match the buyer and seller. And if not, then the order will be added to the order book. Once the order is matched, then it goes to the market contract where the order is settled. Another important feature is that the token holders will propose and vote on changes to the smart contracts of the exchange. So the on-chain decentralized governance has the permission to upgrade all contracts. And this is typically how it works. The DAO proposes and votes on changes to the functions in the smart contracts. You see this on this image. 2 new functions are added here. Additionally, the token holders will decide on which markets exist on Firefly, and of course the token utility and exchange features that I mentioned. The fast settlement and low cost of transactions on Firefly is enabled by an optimistic rollup layer 2. We are currently seeing 400 to 800 millisecond settlement times without network latency, which is the fastest on Polkadot and one of the fastest in the space. We will of course keep pushing this number to make the exchange even faster. So the exchange is almost ready to launch, and we are excited to show you the demo on a call soon. You will see how interacting with the early version of the platform looks. We are just waiting on a final security audit with QuantStamp to finish before we are fully ready to launch it in public. And since parachains are going to join Polkadot on December 15th, we're targeting some date after December 15th to launch Firefly. Here is also an internal dashboard that we're using to track social metrics and website analytics. On the right, you see the countdown, which measures the time until Polkadot parachains, which would, like I said, also be the time around which we deploy Firefly. You can also see other metrics, such as over 5,000 Discord members, over 8,000 Twitter followers, and about 36,000 email signups. We're excited that you're here with us as pioneers of DeFi as we start on a journey to reach millions of users. Please continue to browse this website and learn about the goals for phase 0. All ambassadors have access to the outlines for the next phases. So phase 1, 2, and 3 of the program details are already on the webpage. Please also join the ambassador-only Discord channel. This will be the center of communication for all ambassadors. Again, I'm excited for the journey ahead of us. Please feel free to reach out on Discord if you need anything, and I will see you later.